People can go crazy when they are dumped. Inside of their heads, it seems that there is a mixture of a tornado and a drought and a tsunami all at the same time. This sudden upsurge of negative emotions and unanswered questions lead to both emotional state of depression and the mental state of overthinking. In some people, the depression aces the overthinking. In other people, it is the other way around, where overthinking aces the depression. In this particular case, I will focus on somebody who comes to me with a state of overthinking after having been dumped. If the person had series of depression, the counseling would have been quite different. So let's begin. At the mental level, this person has got this primary question unanswered and shouting out loud, why was I dumped? The innocence of this person baffles me. To a third party, the reason might seem so obvious, but when you yourself are involved in the process of being dumped, then somehow the brain fails to make logical conclusions. This is what happens to this person who has been dumped. At the emotional level, there are a variety of manifestations. There's a need to be alone and not wanting to talk about it. And then there is some components of anger and regret. Basically, you can say that this person emotionally goes through a grief cycle. But unlike in the case of somebody grieving because there is a death in the family or in your circle of friends, when somebody is rejected, the biggest question is why. When somebody dies, such a intellectual dilemma doesn't occur. The person doesn't think that he is to blame, but when one is dumped, the dilemma is there, whether to blame oneself or the other party. Again, I want to remind you that we are talking about romantic relationships here, although this rejection can occur in any other relationships also. In the life events level, a person who is dumped can be easily identified because he or she will stop participating in activities and somehow will lose interest in things that was fun for that person earlier. The pendulum might swing on the other side also, whereby this person can behave erratically, irresponsibly, and even promiscuously. However, at the center of all this chaos, internally and externally, the question looms heavy and dark in his head. Why was he dumped? Why would such a simple question as this one cause a state of overthinking that leads to all those emotional havoc and a social disaster? Again, we have to bring in the cause of poor thinking skills. Any logical person will easily brush off this question as saying that that person dumped me because she didn't like me and that's it, so let's move on. However, the mind is not a standalone object in the conscience. There will be emotions attached. There are desires of being accepted that are so strong, and they are not willing to accept the above answer and simply carry on with life as if nothing had happened. The need to be accepted is so paramount in the human psyche that the second most fear of people after the fear of dying is the possibility of being rejected. We loathe being in a position where we will be told to go away, where we'll be told that we do not belong. Why is that? This desire for acceptance comes from evolutionary biology. Before, when we were tribal huntsmen, being rejected from our tribe meant that we would be thrown into the jungle and expected to live on our own. But most likely, we would be attacked by some wild animals and we will not be able to survive on our own. So, for hundreds of thousands of years of human evolution, rejection meant death. Unlike today, there was nothing such as accepting rejection and just moving on and trying a new partner. In those times, rejections meant that there was no hope for you and you were left to die alone. The reason I'm bringing in this evolutionary biology example is to make the person who has a poor thinking capacity able to contextualize that strong feeling he has after having been dumped. Yes, this is exactly what people who overthink when they are dumped are lacking. Mind you, the theory that I propose that we overthink after being dumped because of evolutionary biology, whereby after being rejected, we were thrown into the jungle and death was imminent, might be total bogus. But our mind needs a theory. When you can make a theory for your mind to find peace without hurting anybody, then that is the ability to think very strongly. Somebody else could come up with another reason the why we feel so miserable when we are dejected. But I found that this particular theory resonates in most of my clients so well that I will just stick to it. But it just doesn't end here. We have to further provide more logic and evidence based explanations on why he was dumped. When the logic provided is correct and sound, the client always feels better after the counseling. The emotional symptoms of depressions disappear and his life becomes normal, if not better. So, my diagnosis when somebody comes with a problem of overthinking after being dumped is that this person doesn't have this ability to cognitively understand his own feelings and find a rational explanation for what happened to him, therefore is not able to move on. The solution for somebody like that is one of two. Either he must counsel himself through his own observation and conclusions, or he must seek the advice of some experts. In romance, please don't laugh. I'm not talking about love gurus. I'm just talking about some friends who went through a similar experience and who was able to come out of it. Alternatively, it could be some older person who has seen a bit more about life and was able to investigate informally in the relationship between men and women romantically. Such an expert would come to some very serious, sound, and logical conclusions, which might prove very useful for anybody who is overthinking after being rejected. After the evolutionary biology theory that I provided, the next layer of reasons must be genuine on the part of the person who rejected that person. It might be honestly because the client is not rich enough or is not handsome enough. Alternatively, it could be because he's a jerk. Still, other reasons might be that the parents are involved and they don't want the relationship to go further. The other category of reasons might cover the person who rejected the client. Her intentions might have been to have a short term relationship and that's it, but the client was expecting something more. In this way, there are many plausible theories proposed to the client. When his mind is fed with all these new secondary theories after the primary one of the evolutionary biology, then it becomes very quiet and tries to find which among the dozens or so reasons for being dumped makes the most sense in his case. Within a few minutes, the client feels relief because something in him resonates with a particular reason. This is because he is able to relate that particular reason to some behavior that his romantic interest had exhibited earlier and the feelings that he had had at those moments. Finally, he's able to connect the dots. Aha! And this is the magic moment when his overthinking just vanishes as if there was never anything. Personally, as a counselor, this is a magical moment to witness in a person. It is almost magical and subliminal, etheric, though it makes it all worthwhile.